Welcome back for week 3, running strength training for beginners. In this week's video, no equipment is necessary, but if you have a dumbbell or kettlebell or anything that provides some weight and resistance, you can use that for some of the movements. We're going to start with our warm-up, about 30 seconds each. We're going to start with jumping jacks. Here we go. Warm-up designed just to get the blood pumping, get the major joints working. Just go at your own pace. And after jumping jacks, we're going to go into our toe and heel walks. So get up onto your toes, heels nice and high, walk forward. And walk backward. If you don't have much space, you could just walk in place. And we're going to some side walking, staying on your toes, heels nice and high. This just gets the outside and inside muscles a little more fired up. Now we'll switch into our heel walks, toes up nice and high towards the shins, get the front muscles of the shin nice and fired up. And walk backwards. And then we'll switch to some side-to-side motions. Toes nice and high. Next, we're going to transition to an A skip. And you can skip in place or you can skip along your mat. But we're trying to drive the knee nice and high to the chest each time while moving forward. As you keep doing reps, try to get the knee a little higher and higher. Really good to work on some explosiveness, get the muscles firing at a fast capacity. All right, now we're gonna go into a figure 4 run. So for this one, you're gonna lift your knee and your heel up at the same time, trying to make a figure 4 with your legs, and you're gonna run in place. So think just a string bringing the heel up towards your buttocks. Here we go. About 30 seconds. Heel up, knee up. Keep going. Okay, so for the last warm-up exercise, we're going to do pogos. So keep your legs relatively straight and you're going to be hopping forcefully through your forefeet. So try not to bend too much at the knees, just try to get it through your toes as much as possible. Here we go. Hopping in one place, trying to be real quick when you hit the ground, just right back up. And as you get into it, think about pulling your feet up towards your shins. Keep going, good. Okay, now we're going to switch to our core strengthening. So let's get down on the mat. We're going to start with a single leg glute bridge. For the glute bridges, make sure you keep your hips rotated backwards. Back is flat on the ground. Here we go. Every time you press up, strong squeeze through the glutes. This is a glute bridge, so you want to feel it in those glute muscles. And do about 10 on each side. And switch. Do 10 more. If you're struggling to feel it in the glutes, you can try bringing the foot closer to the buttocks on the ground. The further away the foot is, generally you get more hamstring. The closer towards the butt, then you get more glute. Okay, now we're going to switch into a side stance hip abduction. So we're going to come up onto our hand, bottom knee on the ground, top leg out in front, just keeping it straight. And you're going to lift the leg up and back. Really squeeze through the glute on the side of the hip. You can put your hand there and try to feel the muscles contract every single time. Try not to dip through the low back at all. Isolate the movement through the hip. All right, now let's go down to the ground now, staying on the same side. We're gonna go into a Copenhagen plank. So for this one, the bottom leg comes out to 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee, top leg straight. You're gonna press up through your foot and your forearm to get the hips up off the ground and that leg off the ground. And you're gonna hold for 3 seconds. And then come back down, rest, and then prop back up for 3 seconds. Good, 2 more. It's a great exercise for the inner thigh muscles, as well as getting the core. A little bit longer hold at the end there. Okay, now switch sides. We'll do the hip abduction and then back into the Copenhagen plank on this side. So on your hand and knee, top leg straight and then out in front. Bring it backwards, really squeeze the glutes. Put your hand there so you can feel the glute muscles working. And again, not bending through the spine at all. Isolating that motion through the hip. As you get used to it, try to get the leg even higher, really strong squeeze. Okay, now let's drop down to the Copenhagens. Top leg straight, bottom leg 90 at the hip, 90 at the knee. From your forearm, press up. And we're gonna hold for about 3 seconds. And relax. And back up. Good, 2 more. And last one. A little bit longer hold for the last one. Excellent. Okay, now we'll go onto our backs and we're going to go into a hamstring march. So legs further out away from the hips. Dig those heels into the ground. Press down and then towards your body to really initiate the hamstrings. Keep that core engaged the whole time. So here we go. Hold your hips up and you're going to lift up the legs, alternating, keeping the hips nice and high. Should really start feeling the hamstrings engage. Start screaming at you as they get some fatigue in them. Try to pick up the pace just a little bit if you can. Keep going. Almost there. And go ahead and shake that out. Just kick the legs out a little bit. There we go. For the final movement, we're just going to go into a standard plank. So you can do this from your knees or your feet, whatever you're comfortable with. But as you press yourself up, use your forearms and think about pushing into the ground to really get that mid back towards the ceiling. And then the second piece is pull your elbows and your knees or your elbows and your feet towards each other, and that will really initiate your core to engage. So press the body up, squeeze the glutes, pressing through your forearms, and then pull the elbows and feet towards each other. Here we go. We're going to do short holds and keep repeating them. And relax. And press up. Pulling the elbows, feet towards each other. Relax. Prop back up. Do one more slightly longer hold. Press up. Engage the glutes. Elbows towards the feet, feet towards the elbows. Hold. And relax. Okay, so we are done with the core warm-up. Now we're going to go into our strength circuit. So we have 3 rounds. We're going to go through a cyclist squat, narrow push-up, kickstand, and you can use some weight for that one if you have it, a standing ATY. Then we're going to go into Bulgarian split squat, and then a runner's calf raise. For the cyclist squat, what you need is a decline board, or you can just roll up your mat to create just a few inches off the ground to where then you can put your heels on the rolled up part of the mat. And then what you're going to do is you're going to keep your feet very narrow, just a few inches apart, and then you're going to squat down. This places a lot of emphasis onto your quadriceps, so you want your knees to go well ahead of your toes as you do this movement. So let's shoot for 10 of these. And just do body weight at first. In the second and third round, you can opt to add some weight if you want more of a challenge. So here we go. At the deep end of this squat, you should feel a lot of that inner quad muscle working. Think about pressing through the balls of your feet. If you do have some knee discomfort with this, if it's low grade, that should be fine. But if it's a little too uncomfortable for your knees, just stop at a height that is okay for you. Okay, now we're going to transition into some push-ups. So we're going to do narrow grip, so just about putting your hands around the width of your mat should be appropriate. This is going to work the tricep muscles a little bit more significantly, so you can do this from the knees, or you can do a full push-up by pressing up onto your toes. But keeping those arms nice and tight against your side as you're doing the push-ups. So let's shoot for 10. So push-ups are great to work the entire core while getting some upper body strengthening. Okay. Now we're going to stand up and we're going to do our kickstands. Now, if you have a kettlebell or you have a dumbbell, you can use it for this exercise to progress it. In weeks 1 and 2, we just went through the movement mechanics of it. But the lead leg is the working leg, trying to sit back and down into the hip and press all the way up. The back leg is just for support, back and a little bit out to the side. So I'm going to be using a kettlebell just to add a little bit more of a challenge for myself. Back leg is back and out just a hair. So here we go. We're going to do 10 reps on each side. So with a weight in your hand, just let the weight drop straight down from the shoulder and think about the weight staying in line with that front leg shin. So it just encourages the hip to sit all the way back and down and then standing all the way up to full extension. Switch sides. I'll do 10 on this side. Really working that hip hinge. %of your weight on that lead leg, 10% of your weight on that back leg just for some support. Almost done. A couple more reps. Okay. Just had to turn the fan on real quick because I was starting to get pretty sweaty already. Now we're going to go into a standing mid-back core exercise. So get your feet just about hip width apart. Sit the butt back and down, and then think about pressing your hips up towards the ceiling while maintaining length through your spine. Then bring your arms down to the side in an A position. Then we'll go up to a W position, and then we'll finish with a Y position. So let's start in that A position, feet just hip width apart, sit the butt back and down, nice hinge, and then think about pressing your butt up towards the ceiling while maintaining length through your body, and then here we go. We're going to pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. W, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go into Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back down to the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up to the W. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up to the Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, come out of it, shake that out. Should feel a lot of back engagement after doing that series. Okay, now we're going to go into Bulgarian split squats. So you do need a chair or a couch, something you rest your foot on. So to find the right distance, sit on the chair or bench, straighten your leg out, and then keep that leg straight when you come to standing, and then put the opposite leg back onto the chair or the bench. And that back leg should be straight back and a little bit out. And you want to lean forward with your torso. This will stick the hip back a little bit more so we can really engage the glutes and the hamstrings. And that's what I want you to focus on with this one. So here we go. Let's go for 10. And go at your own pace. This is a challenging exercise, even just for body weight. Okay, now let's switch legs. So you do the same thing, seated, straight leg out, stand up nice and tall, back leg up onto the bench, chair, couch, and we'll go right back into the squat. Almost done. All right, shake that out. Now we're going to finish with a runner's calf raise. So for this one, if you have a step, put one foot onto the step, the forefoot should be on the edge, and then the back leg is going to be in a push-off position for running. So we're going to work the back leg first, and you're just going to press up and really contract into that lower leg muscle. I'm using the bar for a little bit of stability. But this is just working some calf strength in that push-off position. And then after 10 reps, we're going to switch, and now we're going to work the lead leg. So this works the soleus and the deeper leg muscles. So let that heel drop down off of the step and then pump right back up. All right, now we're going to switch. So same thing, we'll work that back leg first, working the calf. If you don't have a step, it's okay. You can just do this in a split lunge position, just on the flat ground. Now let's go back to the lead leg with the knee bent, working that soleus muscle off the edge of a step. Okay, well, that's it for round one. So take a little bit of a break, grab some water, grab your towel, and then we'll start back with the cyclist squat. So again, for the cyclist squat, you can do it on a rolled up mat so your heels are elevated a little bit, or if you have a decline board, that would be ideal. But give yourself a little bit of a break before going into this next round. Okay, let's start again with the cyclist squat. So roll up your mat, get your heels a few inches off the ground, and then press down into the forefeet and back up. Shooting for 10 reps. Trying to stay as upright as possible. Really should feel those quads starting to burn. Okay, now we're going to go into the narrow push-up. So hands just about mat width apart. I'm going to do them on my fist, which takes a little bit of pressure out of the wrists. Just do 10 reps. And go at your own pace. Really should feel those triceps working. Okay. Now we're going into the kickstand. So again, I'm going to be using some weight. You don't have to use weight for this. But sitting back and down to the hip and standing up nice and tall, squeezing through the glute and hamstring. 10 reps each side. keeping 90% of your weight on that lead leg, 10% on that leg that's back and slightly out for support. Okay, let's switch sides. 10 more on this side. Mainly moving through the hip, minimizing the motion at the knee. Okay. Now we're going to our mid-back exercise, standing A, W, and Y. So feet just about hip width apart, hinge down into the hips, press your butt up towards the ceiling, create length through your spine, and start in the A position. We're going to pulse this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, W, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's repeat that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. W, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And finish with the Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Getting a little sweaty after doing that one. Okay, we're going to the Bulgarian split squats. So again, leaning forward, so you encourage sitting back into that hip, hamstring area. And go at your own pace. Okay, let's switch legs now. So legs up on the chair or bench, straight back, a little bit out for some support. Do 10 reps. Keep going, almost there. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the runner's calf raise. So if you have a step, put one foot up, forefoot on the edge of the step, back leg into the push-off position. And we're going to do the back leg first, just pushing up onto the toes, working that back leg. This isn't going to be a very strong exercise, but it just mobilizes the calf and the ankle in that push-off position. And then we'll switch to the lead leg, work the soleus. This one's going to be a little bit more challenging. It should feel a little bit more of a muscle burn. Really try to get your heel as high as possible each rep. Okay, and let's switch sides. So now we'll start with the back leg. In the push-off position, pressing up through the toes. Try to think about driving through your big toe each time. And then switch to the lead leg. And drive that heel up as high as possible. Work those deeper flexor muscles and soleus. Okay, that does it for round 2. Take a little bit of a break, and then we'll finish off with one more round. So for this last round, we're gonna do the cyclist squat to start, and I'm actually gonna use the kettlebell to do a goblet squat in the cyclist squat position. So if you have a weight, you can do the same. Keep the weight in front of your chest. Heels up on a rolled up mat. Here we go. Pressing up through the 4 feet, feeling those quads burn. If you don't have weight, that's okay. Just keep using your body weight. Okay, so after your 10 reps, let's go into the narrow push-up. So hands just about mat width apart, keeping the upper arms close to your torso as you're going up and down for the push-up. There we go. It's a great tricep exercise. Work the upper body while maintaining a plank. All right. Now we'll do our last round of kickstand deadlifts. So again, using some weight. Lead leg's doing 90% of the work. Back leg, 10% of your weight. Hinging back into that hip and then all the way back up to a full standing position. I'm really focusing on squeezing on the way up, squeezing through the glute, squeezing through the hamstring. Get that posterior chain activated. Okay, let's switch sides. So do 10 more reps. All right. And we're going to do our final round of our standing A's, W's, and Y's. So hinge forward through the hips. Try straightening out your legs just a hair to get the hips up towards the ceiling. And we'll do 5 impulses of the A, and then we'll come up to the W and do 5 there. And 5 in the Y position. And then we're going to repeat. So start with the A, 5 reps. Still think about keeping your spine long, hips being pressed up towards the ceiling to keep those hamstrings activated. W position, do 5. And then end with Y, 5 reps. Really feel those mid-back muscles burn. Okay. Now we are going to go to the Bulgarian split squats, and I am going to add some weight for the final round. So lead leg out in front, doing all the work. Back leg is on the chair or bench, holding the weight in the opposite arm of the lead leg, doing 10 reps. Lean forward, so that encourages your hip to sit back, really engage those glutes. Now let's switch. And again, weight is not necessary. You can just use your body weight, and that is going to be plenty for most people starting off. Done with Bulgarians. Those are so good, but they can be very tiring. Now we're going to finish up the last round with our runner's calf raise. So back leg working first, pressing up through the big toe, and go ahead and go. Do 10 reps. And switching to that lead leg on the step, pressing through your forefoot, driving that heel up as high as you can, working those deeper lower leg muscles. Switch the sides, back leg doing the work, pressing up through the big toe. 10 reps. And then switching to that lead leg on the step. And if you don't have a step, on the ground is fine, just keeping the knee bent, pressing your heel up off the ground as high as you can. All right, and that wraps up the third round. Let's do a brief cool down. So we'll do kneeling hip flexor and hamstring stretch, do a frog stretch for the inner thigh muscles, and then we'll stretch out the glutes with a little bit of a glute hug, and then you can do any other stretches that you feel are necessary. So let's start with a hip flexor stretch, kneeling position. Leg this down as the side we're stretching, lean forward, squeeze the glute on that side, reach up towards the ceiling and tilt a little bit away from the side we're stretching. And now we're going to switch to a hamstring stretch on the opposite leg, tilting our butt back towards our heel, lean our torso forward until you feel a little bit of a stretch in the hamstring. Now we're going to switch. So hip flexor first, squeezing the glute on this side that we're stretching, lean our body forward, reach our hand up towards the ceiling, and then tilt off away from the side that we're stretching. And then we're going to stretch the opposite leg, shift the hips back, lean forward, keep the bend in the knee. You should feel that hamstring stretch out. Okay. Now into a kneeling position, get the knees much wider than the hip width apart, and then sit your butt back towards your heels. Use your forearms for some support. You can use your arms to press a little bit deeper in this position, but you should feel a nice stretch through your groin muscles, inner thigh muscles. Try rocking side to side, see which side feels a little tighter, and you can hang out in that spot wherever you feel the tension. And for the final stretch, we're going to go into a seated position, cross one leg over the other, and give your thigh and outer knee a nice hug. Pull it nice and tight towards your chest and rotate your torso towards it. Should feel a nice glute stretch on the outer part of your hip. On the leg you're hugging towards your chest. Switch sides, same thing, leg over the other. Hug your knee towards your chest, rotate into the thigh. Okay, this wraps up week 3 of beginner strength training for runners. Please subscribe to our channel, share it with a friend who can use some strength in their life, and please tune in next week for our 4th workout. Thanks, we'll see you guys then.